if you spend an hour around Joe, you'll see that he is a walking movie. He's funny. He hangs out with interesting people. He's got a great history, an interesting history. And I thought that this would really be suited for a film. And fortunately, he agreed. At the time, I was around a group of really talented students. And I asked them, Carrie Carpenter, Luke Baker, and Scott Pignetti, if they would be interested in being the crew for this documentary. And so the semester was just coming to an end. They had some free time in their schedules, and fortunately they said yes.
I didn't know him that well going into the shooting for Record Paradise. But, I mean, you spend enough hours in a car with someone, you get to know him. We listened to books on tape. Not on tape, I guess they were on CD. But audiobooks on the way down to Maryland, like The Kite Runner. So we listened to it, and then we would talk about it. It was very nice, but still a little academic in a way. Well, I knew very little about Joe when we went down on the project, because, Mike kind of brought me in very close to when we were going down to Maryland. So I just Google searched his name. I said, Joe Lee, Record Store, Baltimore. His shop's not in Baltimore, but I didn't know that. I just knew it was the Baltimore area, which is really big. And I just found this weird Washington Post article that just referred to him as a record store owner. So I'm like, oh, he's a record store owner. Okay. But when I got down there, boy, he was more than just a record store owner. He's such a character. And I think Mike discovered that too, and I think we all did, which is why we kind of profile him in different ways in the documentary, whether it's as a music producer, whether it's as the record store owner, or whether it's just, he's a human being, and he interacts with so many people.
The crew made 2 trips to the Washington, D.C. area, and the first trip, I think, was 3 or 4 days, and then the second trip was 2 days.
I helped with, determining shots at some points too, but pretty much my role was primarily audio. I would try to have them do things that would get the best audio sound. Like I remember we were in the basement. This didn't make it into the documentary, but we were in the basement of a guy's house, and, Joe was going through records or whatever, and there was like a fly buzzing around. And so I was like making everybody move around so I could try to get audio from the fly. Not that it made it into the documentary, but yeah, I mean, it was just fun. We could pretty much play around with whatever we wanted to, the shots, the audio, and it just gave us an opportunity to, play around and see what we could do.
The student crew had a lot of enthusiasm. They had a lot of really good ideas, and they had a lot of energy. So we might be at the end of a long day of shooting, and one thing you need to know about shooting outdoors is that the best times to shoot outdoors are the early morning and the late afternoon or early evening. So we would have just tied up a long day of shooting, and I'd say, gang, we need to get out and take advantage of this late day light. And they would pack up the cameras and set up and get it done. So I really appreciated that enthusiasm and also their intellectual engagement with what was going on, with the topic at hand. They weren't just turning the buttons on and off. They were thinking about creative and interesting ways to portray Joe. The director doesn't have all the good ideas. I mean, sometimes the director may think he or she has all the good ideas, but the crew also comes up with good ideas, and fortunately, this one did.
Your professors, what they teach you, it's always in your head. Like, we would constantly be shooting stuff and thinking about what Thurber would think of the shot. So it was like, the birds flying overhead is always good B-roll. So it was like you had to get birds somehow into the documentary because we wanted to make Thurber happy. And it was like, I think we waited for 15 or 20 minutes at one point for a train to go by. Like, we'd set everything up and we're like, okay, we need to get the shot of the train. So we were waiting there. Like, it took 20 minutes for the train to come, and it was like just a short clip, and it didn't even make it in, but it was like we had to get that kind of stuff because we wanted to please all of our communications faculty too, show them that we learned something from them and we could pull something like this off.
And it was the first time I'd done a huge project, and it was so much fun. And I worked on that, and then the next summer I edited it for Mike, and we crafted the story together. And it was sometime late in the summer. He goes, "Luke, I want you as my co-producer." And I was like, oh heaven, no. No, I was really excited, actually. I called my mom right away. I go, "Mom, I'm going to be a co-producer on this documentary." She's like, "Oh, I'm telling your father." And it was very nice. After I loosened up a little bit and he came out of his shell, and especially over the summer editing, we really got to know each other, because we would spend 8-hour days together looking at a screen, and his chair right up next to mine, and we're just looking at this screen going. I mean, your eyes would get tired at the end of the day. So this is me staring at the screen, like what's that? I felt like an old man, but and we would edit every Monday, and every Monday at noon, he'd say, "I think it's about lunchtime." And I said, "Okay." He goes, "What do you want?" And every Monday I would say, "I want a burrito." So we went to all these different burrito places in Syracuse. Well, I guess there are a few that we missed, but we went to Moe's, we went to Chipotle, but the best place is actually Wegmans. Wegmans had burritos during the lunch hour, and they were so good. So we would go sit down and we would just chat, and we became colleagues, and I'd say we became friends, which was very nice. It was really a privilege for me to be able to do that, and I appreciate it every day.
I started working with Professor Streisguth as part of Communications Club, where I transferred in here and started becoming heavily involved with the radio station on campus, and we went on some trips where he was the moderator of the club. So we went to New York and we went to Toronto, and just getting to know Professor Streisguth through that, he knew that I was capable to record audio, and he asked me, he's like, we're putting this documentary together. I'd really like to have you lay some tracks down for me, and I was really happy to do it. So I felt honored to be asked by him, because I knew that his knowledge of music was just huge. So I wanted to become involved with it right away. He had a few musicians that he wanted them to lay down some tracks, and a few bass lines, some guitar, just kind of a sound bed for the documentary. Things that you really can't get on the spot when they went down to Maryland. So I met Streisguth and a few of these musicians that he had gotten in, who they seemed all chummy together. And we recorded some bass stuff. I had everything set up for them when they got in. And I knew how much of a perfectionist Streisguth was, so we'd record a bass track, and Streisguth would be like, "Oh, that one came out pretty good." And I'd be like, "I think I want to do one more. I'm not totally happy with it." But it came out pretty good.
We wrapped up editing in early 2012, and then began the process of applying to film festivals. So at this stage, we have a number of film festival engagements in New York, Buffalo, Memphis, Tennessee, and we're hoping to continue to show the film at film festivals throughout 2012, and with the goal of receiving some television exposure. I think part of the Lemoyne experience for students is the opportunity to work closely with faculty. And I just think that is the essence of learning. So anytime I have the opportunity to work closely with students, whether it's in video production or public relations, advertising, journalism, I'm going to do it. And I look forward to continuing to do activities such as this documentary film.